Hello everybody, Pink Bunny Girl 43 here, and welcome to day 27 of Pinktober. Today's prompt is to draw your fear or a warrior cat's fear. We've decided for ourselves it would only be fitting, since we've been reading from Ravenpaw's Farewell every single day, to create an art piece during Pinktober of his greatest fear: leaving Barley and being separated from him. Earlier in Ravenpaw's story, his greatest fear would have been very different. During his apprenticeship, he was racked with fear all the time that Tigerclaw would find out that he knew the truth, that Tigerclaw had really killed Redtail. But that fear drove him away from the clans to seek refuge with Barley, who later grew to be a dear companion, someone he could not imagine living his life without. And so now, I believe his greatest fear is something quite different: being separated from Barley. Anyway, so now that you guys have a general idea of the concept behind this drawing, I'll leave Rachel to continue working on it, and I'll keep reading to you guys from Ravenpaw's Farewell. He woke as the first gray light of dawn spilled into the cave. Outside, the air was cool and scented with leaves. Ravenpaw nudged Barley. "Wake up!"
Is it time to go home?
Bella mewed sleepily. Beside her, Riley yawned. "We're not going home," Ravenpaw announced. "We're going back to StarClan." Barley stopped mid-stretch. What? They wouldn't even let us across the border yesterday." He narrowed his eyes. "And you need to get back to the barn for some rest." "I'm okay," Ravenpaw told him. "I dreamed of StarClan last night, and I saw something that can help deal with the kitty pets." "Well then, let's go!" meowed Riley, running to the mouth of the cave. "Those fox-brained kitty pets need to respect StarClan." Ravenpaw felt a flash of pride at Riley's loyalty to a clan that had treated him like a trespasser.
Bella nodded. If there's anything we can do to help them, we have to go back.
Barley sighed. "I can see I'm outnumbered," he mewed. He brushed the tip of his tail along Ravenpaw's spine. "But if you need to stop and rest, tell me, okay? I know something's hurting you." "I will." Ravenpaw led them up the stream once more. They paused among the trees to hunt. Barley made Ravenpaw lie on some comfy moss, while he and the young cats cornered a pigeon that was pecking at the foot of a beech tree. As soon as they had eaten and cleaned their muzzles, they continued to the edge of the woods. In daylight, Ravenpaw could see the huge gray-brown boulder that hung over the stream. The water vanished beneath the rock, and sun-dappled ripples cast a pattern of light onto the bottom of the stone. They had hardly gone past the holly bush when several figures appeared, running towards them, Plumwillow in the lead. "We told you to stay away!" she growled. A ginger Tom bounded beside her, his hackles raised. "Get out of here!" "Plumwillow, Bouncefire, wait!" A silver tabby she-cat with clear green eyes sprang down from a path near the foot of the cliff and blocked their way. "Enough! These cats mean no harm!" "We don't know that," Bouncefire muttered. But he stayed where he was and watched as the silver-gray cat approached Ravenpaw and his companions. Ravenpaw picked up the clean scent of herbs on her pelt and spotted a scrap of cobweb clinging to her ear. "My name is Echo Song," she meowed. "I am SkyClan's medicine cat. Leafstar told me about you." Her voice was gentle, and Ravenpaw let the fur on his spine relax. "I need to speak with Leafstar. Please, it's important." Echo Song studied him for a moment, then turned, her fluffy silver tail straight up. "Follow me!" She led them past Plumwillow and Bouncefire, who hissed under his breath, and up one of the narrow paths. She paused and looked back. "Oh, I'm sorry," she mewed. "There isn't much room in Leafstar's den. I can take Ravenpaw to her, but would the rest of you mind staying down here?" Barley glanced at the warriors who had started to emerge from dens and behind rocks at the bottom of the valley. Don't worry, you're quite safe," Echo Song told him. "Hawkpaw will look after you." A sturdy little cat with sleek gray fur and piercing yellow eyes who had just come out of a den nodded. "Absolutely," he promised. "Thank you," Echo Song mewed. "Let me know if Ebony Claw arrives and needs you to do something else." She went on to Ravenpaw. "Ebony Claw is a daylight warrior, so she's not here yet. Hawkpaw's her apprentice." He seems very committed," Ravenpaw remarked. Echo Song nodded. "He is. As long as we keep him away from Billy Storm's apprentice Pebblepaw, the two of them do not get along. They left Barley, Riley, and Bella standing rather awkwardly with the gray apprentice and continued up the path. It led past several small caves, warrior dens, Ravenpaw guessed from the scents that wafted out, to a ledge where 3 cats sat. Leafstar, a ginger and white Tom with a broad, handsome face, and a ginger Tom whose gaze raked Ravenpaw's pelt as he approached. Leafstar dipped her head. Ravenpaw! I wasn't expecting to see you again. She indicated to the cats beside her, the scowling dark ginger Tom first. This is Sharpclaw, my deputy, and this is Billy Storm. Whatever you have to tell me, you can say in front of them. Ravenpaw took a deep breath and hoped that the warriors couldn't hear his hard pounding. I want to help you with the kitty pet, problem. We saw what happened last night, and I think there's a way you could stop it. Sharpclaw stood up, hackles raised. So, you were trespassing, he growled. No, we were on the cliff top, on the other side of your border marks, Ravenpaw replied, trying not to let his paws shake. Sit down, Sharpclaw, Leafstar mewed. The ginger Tom slowly folded his hind legs beneath him. Those kitty pets are a nuisance, nothing more, he rasped. We're not afraid of them. But they must be taught to respect your boundaries, Ravenpaw meowed. You cannot let them come into the heart of your camp. We're hardly welcoming them in, Billy Storm pointed out. Leafstar raised one paw. Do you think you know a way to keep them out of camp, Ravenpaw? Her tone was light, as if she was prepared to listen to him out of politeness. Ravenpaw stood up and unsheathed his front claws to mark a shape on the sandy ledge. With a few swift lines, he made a circle with ripples spreading outward, just like the pattern in the moonlit pool in his dream. This is your camp, he explained, pointing to the circle in the center, but the boundaries need to be much further out to keep trespassers at a safe distance. He rested his paw on the outermost ripple. This is the point you need to defend, halfway across the empty ground between your camp and the 2 lake dens. If you make that your boundary, and then prove to the kitty pets that you will not let them cross, then your home will be safe. Who are you to tell us about boundaries? Sharpclaw huffed. You're not even a clan cat. But Leafstar was nodding, staring down at the marks in the sand. You mean that we should move our boundary back from the edge of the gorge? Yes, I can see sense in that. It will be harder to patrol because there are so few points to place markers out there. But it would certainly protect the gorge. She looked up at Ravenpaw. And how would you teach the kitty pets to stay away from the new boundary? Ravenpaw gulped. Memories of his time in ThunderClan whirled in his head. Patrols, checking border marks, training with Tigerclaw, constant patrols along the new border, all night, until the kitty pets learn exactly where it lies. Your warriors will need to rest during the day, but perhaps the daylight cats can take over duties then? You might only need a constant patrol for one night, if you fight hard enough. We always fight hard enough, Sharpclaw snarled. Ravenpaw blinked. Before sun high today, you must set markers along the new boundary. Build places to mark if you must, from branches or piles of stones. Then rest until dusk, when every warrior and apprentice must take their place along the border. The kitty pets must not be allowed to set one paw across the line. He stopped, panting. His belly was gripped by a spasm, and he tried hard not to curl it into a ball to ease it. Leafstar studied Ravenpaw with a thoughtful gleam in her eyes. Once again, ThunderClan comes to help us, she meowed. No, I'm not ThunderClan anymore, Ravenpaw replied. Leafstar didn't say anything. Instead, she stood up and padded down the path to the bottom of the gorge, and then leaped gracefully onto the boulder. SkyClan, gather here, she yelled. Ravenpaw limped down behind Sharpclaw and Billy Storm to join Barley. The black and white cat regarded him with concern, but Ravenpaw just nodded towards Leafstar, who was explaining the plan to expand the clan's boundaries. Her clanmates listened in silence, with frequent glances at the visitors. When Leafstar had finished, she beckoned to Ravenpaw with her tail. Ravenpaw gulped.
Go on!
Bella squeaked, bouncing on her paws with excitement. Ravenpaw stayed where he was. He didn't think he could jump anywhere with this pain in his belly. And he turned to face the crowd of cats. You are stronger than you realize, he began, raising his voice in spite of the throbbing inside of him. There were a few indignant murmurs.
You know nothing of how strong we are.
Come here and fight if you think we're so weak, Ravenpaw carried on. Unlike kitty pets, you have your warrior ancestors on your side, and your faith in the warrior code to keep you strong. You have to make an invisible boundary visible and painful to the kitty pets who show you no respect. He drew another breath. They are not warriors. They will not win!
They are not warriors! They will not win!
Echoed the cats, and Ravenpaw sagged with relief. Leafstar met his gaze and nodded. Sharpclaw bounded onto the rock and began dividing the cats into patrols to trace out the boundary and create new marks far back from the edge of the cliff. To Ravenpaw's surprise, he paused and growled at Riley and Bella. I suppose you want to help too? The young cats nodded so fast that their ears flapped. Sharpclaw flicked his tail at Riley. You, go with Cherrytail, Wasp Whisper, and Dustpaw to pile up stones for the new markers. Riley ran over to join the patrol. Sharpclaw gestured to Bella. You can help Bouncefire and Blossompaw fetch sticks from the woods.
What about the Daylight Warriors? Plumwillow called from the middle of the crowd. Are they going to do all the regular duties so we can rest before the fight?
A slender black and white Tom popped his head up.
We'll do all that and stay to fight,
he declared. All around him, several cats nodded.
We are StarClan as much as you are. This is our battle too. Thank you, MacGyver.
Sharpclaw meowed.
I've been invited to join a hunting patrol,
Barley murmured in Ravenpaw's ear.
But you need to get some rest.
Ravenpaw opened his mouth to object, but Barley went on. I can see that you're in pain. Don't lie to me, please. Just look after yourself while I help with the fresh kill pile. Ravenpaw nodded. I'll be here when you get back, he promised. He watched the black and white cat trot over to the patrol that included Firefern. The ginger she-cat greeted him frostily, but a brown Tom seemed more welcoming and fell in beside Barley as they padded out of the camp. Well, that's where I'm going to be ending the reading for today. Let's check out the finished artwork. We drew Ravenpaw's greatest fear of leaving Barley too soon. Over and over again throughout the story, Ravenpaw has had to confront this fear. In the beginning, when they were exploring ThunderClan's old camp, Barley felt that Ravenpaw might have regretted never going back to the clans after Tigerclaw was killed. As Ravenpaw contemplates and draws upon his warrior roots, he really comes to terms with his decision that he made so many moons ago when he was an apprentice. He does not regret witnessing Redtail's death, and the choices that he made that led him to living with Barley. For those times with Barley have been some of the best in his life, so it's understandable that he doesn't think that he's ready to be drawn off to StarClan quite yet. Let's check out on Amino 10 artworks of some of your fears or some warrior cat fears. Wow, these are some really great drawings. We thought that drawing a fear would be an interesting prompt because one of the first steps in overcoming a fear is realizing that you have it in the first place. So if you participated in today's Pinktober, I hope that it helped you in some way. And around Halloween time, it seems that a lot of people's fears come a little bit closer to the surface. But hopefully we can all just enjoy the spooky season and have fun with it. If you guys want to take part in Pinktober, then hurry up and join my Amino and make a post with the hashtag Pinktober2020. Tomorrow's prompt is Evil Dr. Medicine Cat. I'm really interested to see what you guys come up with for that prompt. Well, until tomorrow, bye-bye guys!